If you grow zucchini squash and you have trouble with powdery mildew or the vine borer moth, or you've never grown zucchini squash and you want to prevent all of those problems and have a great harvest, stick around and we're going to go over the 5 key tips to growing great zucchini squash in your garden. If you visited me before, welcome back. If this is your first time, my name is Riley. This is my garden. 5 must-do tips to grow squash successfully in your garden starts with tip number 1, and that is pruning your squash. We're going to break this down into 4 subtasks for you to do when you're pruning your squash. Let's start with subtask number 1, and that is use the right tools. A pair of gloves and some snippers. Squash, though, have spines on the branches, and it's not going to kill us, but it's not particularly fun to have these embedded in our skin, so the gloves are always a good idea. But even more importantly is the gloves allow you to get in deep with no trepidation right into that plant and snip it right where it meets the main stem. Task number 2, when you're pruning your zucchini plants, start with your zucchini leaves that are already making contact with your ground or that are laying on the ground inside your garden bed. These are going to rot away quicker anyway, so those are the ones that we'll target first to prune off our plant. Let's take a look at what that looks like when we get in deep and snip those right off, right near where that branch meets the main stem. You can see in this plant where I've already pruned a lot off. Here's one leaf that is in contact with the ground. We just want to go right in, right where it meets the main stem, and snip it off. Task 3, when we're pruning zucchini, look for leaves that are not on the ground, that are up off the ground but are starting to decay. Maybe some browning going on around the edges, maybe some brown spots. As the zucchini leaf or the squash leaf goes through its life, it's collected sun to feed the fruit of the plant, it's going to start to decay. At that point, you're safe to cut it off, to prune it off. Same process as the other one. Get in deep right where the leaf, the stem of that leaf meets the main stem of the plant, snip it off right there. Well, you can see how much I've already clipped off. The last task, task number 4 when you're pruning, is look to see where leaves are shading other leaves out, and you can go ahead and clip that top leaf off. Or if you're like me and you grow multiple vegetables in the same garden bed, if any of your squash leaves are growing up and getting in the way and shading out your peppers or shading out your tomatoes, go ahead and clip those leaves off as well. Not going to hurt the plant. The plant's still going to have plenty of leaves on it to collect the sun and grow you great fruits. In fact, I've got one right here that I just got off and is going to be great for dinner one day this week. Tip number 2 to grow great zucchini: when you see a plant, when you see a fruit and the flower is falling off the fruit and it's starting to rot on the end of that flower, don't Google that and think that you have blossom end rot. Blossom end rot is a calcium deficiency, and more often than not, it's not a problem in your soil, it's an inability of the plant to take up calcium from the soil, and a lot of time that is just from uneven watering. On your zucchini plants, you will have fruits that grow to 4 inches long. Their flower falls off the end of the fruit and it rots from the end of the fruit back. That's completely normal. That is just that particular flower didn't get germinated. So don't think that you have a major problem when you see that. Please just don't even worry about it. You're going to have plenty of zucchini, I promise. Tip number 3 is how to prevent the vine borer moth from laying eggs and destroying your squash and zucchini plants. The vine borer moth will lay eggs on the leaves of your squash. Those eggs will hatch into larvae. They will eat their way into your squash plant and into the main stem, and they will destroy the entire plant. There is a way to prevent them. It is called Bacillus thuringiensis. It is a natural occurring bacterium, and it only affects caterpillars. So it is safe for everything else in your garden. It won't harm any of your beneficial insects. It won't harm your pets. It won't harm you. So the easiest way to apply this is with a pump sprayer like this, and it makes it a very, very quick job. These are around $10 at Home Depot or Lowe's. You could probably buy it on Amazon, although I've not checked. You spray it all over your plant until it runs off. So top of the leaves, bottom of the leaves, on the stems, all the way down the main stem. And if it rains, you apply it again. I apply mine every 10 days. I put an alarm on my phone to remind me to spray it, and if it rains, I spray it again. It really is effective against the vine borer moth. It's also effective against any other caterpillars that you have problems with in your garden. I also spray it on my tomatoes because we have serious problems here with a hornworm caterpillar, and they can just decimate a tomato plant in a matter of a few days. And this works perfect against those as well. Tip number 4, if you live in a high humidity area, you live in an area that gets a lot of moisture, consider purchasing hybrid zucchini seeds that are bred to resist powdery mildew. I know. I love heirlooms as well. I have heirloom squash growing in my garden right now. But the fact of the matter is, if you live in a part of the country where you have high humidity or you get a lot of moisture, powdery mildew is really, really hard to prevent. And the first step is what we did in step 1, which was pruning our plants. But even then, if in a high humidity area, powdery mildew is going to be a challenge. They have some fantastic hybrid seeds out right now that are bred to resist powdery mildew. This particular zucchini plant, this zucchini plant's called Dunja. It's from Johnny's Seeds of Maine. I have been growing it now, I think, for 3 seasons, and it is bred to resist powdery mildew, and I've never had a problem. The coloring you see on these leaves is just a patterning, and that's not powdery mildew. These plants have held up every year here in Zone 9B without an issue. So tip number 4, if you live in a high humidity area, if you live in a high moisture area, consider hybrid seeds that are bred to resist powdery mildew. Time for the last tip, and this is the most important one. The best advice I can give, because I do it and I know it works, and that is schedule 10 minutes a day for you to be in your garden. Set an alarm on your phone and put your phone on airplane mode. Putting your phone in airplane mode will also prevent you from Googling something you find in the garden while you're in the garden and then wasting those precious 10 minutes. Use your phone to take pictures, to take notes on whatever notes app that you use, but spend those 10 minutes observing your plants. Just this year, I found Japanese flea beetles really at an odd time. I'd never had them that late in my garden. I found them. I was able to pick them off before they could cause major damage, and every night when I went back, I found fewer and fewer to pick off. So in conclusion, the 5 tips, 5 tasks are simple. Prune your zucchini plants. Don't worry about blossom end rot. Use Bacillus thuringiensis in your garden. Consider hybrid seeds to resist powdery mildew, and spend those 10 minutes alone every day in your garden. My name is Riley. Thank you for visiting me. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up and please share it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We'd love to have you on the channel.